Most people charge their phone at least once a day. Do you ever wish that your phone can last longer? For me, I charge my Android phone once every 4 days. You may wonder what is my trick. Here I like to tell you 5 tips to help my cell phone battery last longer. Tips number 1. Reduce your background brightness. A typical cell phone stores about 10 watt-hour per charge, and the usage time follows a very simple equation, which is the energy stored divided by the power used. So, the more power you use, the shorter your battery will last. One of the things in your cell phone that uses a lot of the battery power is actually the screen. So for example, if you have a bright screen, it can use up to 2 watts of power. So reducing your brightness of the screen can make your cell phone last longer. For example, if you have a dim screen, the power usage can be reduced to about 0.6 watt. Some of you may wonder whether there's a difference between a dark background and a bright background. And it depends on cell phones. Some cell phones do. So you may want to experiment with this to see whether you can extend your cell phone battery by changing to a dark background. Tips number 2. Close apps that are not in use. Many phones have battery apps to monitor the energy used in your phone, such as this one. So you should check it out from time to time to see which app is using up most of your battery. Interestingly, the apps actually uses up a lot of your energy, and it depends on applications. For example, Facebook, Google Drive uses about 2 watt. Some of the other applications may use more or less. Apart from apps, if you're using your flashlight or to make a phone call, you'll be using some of your energy. Some of you may wonder, after using the phone, what if we just turn it off? Would it be okay? You have to beware. Actually, some of these background apps still runs, and it will take up a lot of your energy. So we recommend before you turn off your cell phone, you should close all your background apps. In my Android, it's relatively simple. There's a simple function. You click on it, and then you can just remove all the background apps. Afterwards, you can then close your phone. That can save you a lot of energy use. Tips number 3. Take the stairs. This may sound like a very strange suggestion, but think carefully. What happens when you bring a cell phone into an elevator? In most of the cases, the cell phone signal will go out because the elevator is effectively a metal cage that shields out all of the signal. What does the cell phone do at this point? It will try to search for the signal and uses extra energy to do that. So you end up spending more energy if you go into the elevator. So what we recommend you to do is, instead of taking the elevator, you can take the stairs, so your cell phone will not be disconnected, and it will be healthier for you too. Tips number 4. Avoid heat sources. You may notice that if you have a new cell phone, the cell phone battery will seem to last longer. When you start to use it, the battery will actually degrade, and the amount of time you can use gradually decreases. And what affects this battery degradation? One of them is actually high heat. So we don't recommend you to put your cell phone in hot places. For example, if you have a car parked underneath the sun, the temperature inside the car can go more than 50 degrees. That's not very good for your cell phone. Apart from this, you may wonder what happens if you fast charge your cell phone. Fast charging actually means you are putting more current in it, and actually the cell phone temperature also goes up. So we see that in this case, if you constantly using fast charge, you are subjecting your cell phone to high heat. Other than that, if you're charging, for example, in places that are not ventilated, like this, inside the sofa, this is also not very good for the cell phone because the cell phone can get hotter and hotter and your battery will degrade, which means that later on you won't be able to use it as much. Tips number 5. Don't use the phone so often. This sounds like a very silly suggestion, but it goes back to our basic principle, which is that the more we use a cell phone, the shorter the battery will last. Of course, the cell phone is very convenient and useful to find information, but have you ever wondered whether we are using the cell phone too much? There's an interesting study to look at how much time a person uses a cell phone. And on average, a person is using about 2 hours and 51 minutes of your variable time on the cell phone. And about 86% of the people has reported that they are checking their cell phone even when they're talking to friends and family. And also, there's something called phone addiction, and this phone addiction is actually growing over time. There's also another study that found that when people are on their phones, they smile less, affecting their ability to connect with others. I'm sure you've been to a situation like this where everybody around you is using the cell phone. But think about this, the world is actually physical, and the people are also physical. Maybe we should put down our phone and care more about the world and the people around us. By doing that, your cell phone will last longer, and we can also improve our mental health at the same time. Please let me know what you think about these tips and comment below. Bye bye.